topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. I almost said morning. Good afternoon, Dallas and Fort Worth. You know, when you ask, we listen and we try to do the best we can. And we found a world-renowned, not just a local, but a world-renowned MD that his specialty, besides internal medicine, is weight loss. And, you know, there's all these fad diets out there. There's always fad everything out there. This is not a fad today. And I'm telling you, if you've got a friend, a family member who's overweight, we're going to fix that today for you. So sit back, and today's show is brought to you by our new sponsor, which is, they're called Mindful Weight Loss. I'm just glad we have Mindful Weight Loss. And we're going to introduce you to Dr. Gupta. He's a board certified in obesity medicine. And again, write this down, mindfulweightloss.com. Here's their phone number, 310-220-4543. And we've learned to do telemedicine. So it doesn't matter if you're in Dallas or what city you're in. We can handle just about any city in the United States. So I want to welcome, I'm telling you, this guy is going to be a very, very good friend of mine. And I haven't even told him yet that when we're going to have you write in or call in when you go on his program, and we'll do an update each month on how you're doing with the program. So, hey, let's get started. Let me welcome you to the expert in weight loss, Dr. Gupta.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Steve. As always, you're very kind.
How about that for an opening?
That's awesome.
Anyway, we are so lucky. Dr. Gupta is going to be doing shows in a lot of our cities. And I got to tell you, after the first show, we got phone calls from people that I've never even known about, just complimenting us on Dr. Gupta's first show with us. So again, sit back, and we're going to be talking about weight loss. Dr. Gupta, before we start, I told you before the show, I've got a story. So I have been, I'm on Facebook a lot because I read a lot of the information. So our Secretary of the State under President Trump, I'm probably going to forget his name now.
No, that's the current one.
Oh, I mean, this was under President Trump. I'm going to get it. But anyway, I would say he's probably 6'1", 350. Big man. They showed a picture of him, and he said he's 195 now. He lost all this weight because of a gummy bear. And the gummy bear, go to the gummy bear.
The gummy bear diet?
Yeah, it was developed from a Harvard teacher. They had to pick Harvard teacher, and then she goes into the mumbo jumbo that we're going, what is she talking at Metallica? Anyway.
Yeah.
I just read an article today because it was about Joel and Victoria, the pastors in Houston at Lakewood Church, Osteen, Joel Osteen. And the article was talking about how they're retiring. I went, they got the biggest church in the United States. Why are they retiring? It turned out that this was from the same company that wrote that article about the gummy bears, which they said was false, and they're probably going to get sued by all the celebrities they had on there because they had before and after.
Yeah.
And that's what you're up against, Dr. Gupta.
Yeah.
All the false stuff out there.
Oh my God.
What I love about the fact that you are an MD, you specialize in internal medicine.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm going to surprise you one more time, then we're going to get started. So I've got a lot of friends in Dallas. I'm from Dallas.
Sure.
My brother-in-law, head of internal medicine at Baylor Hospital.
Oh, cool.
You know, it's a very big hospital.
Yeah, it's a good, very reputable place.
Yeah. So anyway, Dr. Gupta, tell everybody about your practice. What made you go from a successful internal medicine practice into obesity?
Sure. I'll go into the background, but then I want to address that gummy bear thing because I think it's really interesting. But so, I was just a little bit about my background. I started as a hospitalist. I got into management in a big healthcare company. But a few years ago, I attended a conference, and it was from the Obesity Medicine Association. So I've struggled with weight my whole life. I guess I'm admitting this in public. When I was a kid, I would sneak Hydroxycut from GNC, and to do that to lose weight.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember Hydroxycut.
Yeah, it's not good for you, but it's just like, I know what that feels like, right? That desperation, because this is such a difficult issue. And we've created a world that makes us all feel so bad about it, right? So I got into this field and I was shocked that there was a group of people who said, no, we don't have to be so nihilistic about this. We can treat people who struggle with weight. We can treat the disease of obesity, right? And so I got into it. I started my clinic, and it's just been remarkable, how much you can help people, right? When you treat people struggling with weight, you basically are doing ultimate preventative medicine. So this isn't about treating people, which is important, but when you come in in your 65, 70, have the stroke, have the heart attack, have all that stuff, right? This is 30 years before, preventing that stroke, right? And then imagine, it feels so big because you're preventing 30 years of disease, 30 years of the impact on people's lives, on their families, when they have that heart attack or stroke, right? So it may sound grandiose, but I think it's huge. Every patient that we help, you're changing life and everyone around them. And so that's why I got into it. But I want to just address that gummy bear thing, right? And it's the reason for all of these type of diets, right? Whether it's that, or even keto, low carb, paleo, all that stuff, right? Is that our mind loves certainty, right? It just loves certainty. Easier for our brain to always say I'm never going to eat this. I'm always going to eat this, right? The problem with that is that it is not sustainable, right?
Yes, that's right.
Really sustainable, right? That's not, you can't go around, go out to dinner and Thanksgiving and you're sitting in the corner eating 3 gummy bears or something, right? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So,
and it's always I can restart again tomorrow.
Exactly. So
tomorrow never comes though.
Well, I think, it doesn't come. That's the thing. But I think instead, what I want to frame people is what we always say is everything's 80%, not 100. And by that, I don't mean we go for 100, settle for 80. I mean, I want 80, not 100. 100 is actually bad. I want people to enjoy Thanksgiving. I want them to enjoy their birthdays, right? Because I think too often, what diet culture, all of that does not understand, it misses one of the most important aspects about food, which is eating with each other. As humans, we've been doing that forever, the social element of food, right? So what we strive, what we try to optimize is not those important meals, even that one meal you might have with your spouse, going out to dinner or whatever with your kids, or, it's about all the other stuff, right? It's about sitting there at 3 p.m. and just eating a bag of chips, right? That doesn't mean anything, right? That's what we try to optimize. So I think it's just really important. And I think that brings up a point with that diet you mentioned, right? And just it's easy for the mind to want that, right? But it never works. It just never works.
And Dr. Gupta, perfection leads to failure. I really,
Perfect.
the people who
Exactly.
want to be 100%, and you know
Sure.
what? We want that quick fix.
Yeah.
And all the quick fixes out there maybe might work for a quick amount of time, but they always end up going back. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's so important about what you do, because you
Sure.
really include the mind in this.
Oh
Mindful.
yeah, it's
It's
all about that.
so there's different types of weight loss products
Sure.
out there. How is yours different? And yours is not a product. Yours is a
No.
lifestyle.
Yeah. So what we describe. Sorry, I went on mute for a second. I apologize.
Okay, we hear you.
Sorry, Steve. I it was on mute for a second. I
That's
apologize.
okay. So
Okay.
tell us about your program and why
Sure.
you've been so successful.
Sure. So, what I describe what we do is a combination of evidence-based medicine, right, with therapy, mindfulness, coaching. So, I describe like weight loss is actually downstream from the mindset, and that's what we really focus on. And what we focus on sustainability, right? And really, like what we do is basically someone comes in to see us, our first visit, we really get to know them, right? Not only like kind of like what their past medical history is, what medications they're taking, all that stuff, but like literally their lives, right? Like what time do you get up? What do you eat in the morning, right? Do you eat breakfast before you leave? Right? What's it like with your kids? Like, do you like your job? Right? Is your job like fun? Are you feel anxious with your job? How's your relationship with your spouse? Right? What do you do after dinner? Are you hanging out watching Netflix or whatever, or hanging out and like on the computer by yourself or whatever? Like really getting to know people's lives, because this isn't about us coming in and saying, oh, you need to do these 10 things and you'll lose weight. It's about figuring out what your life is, figuring out where in a sustainable way that really takes into account people's energy, time, desire, all of it, how we can optimize things in a way that we can work smarter, not harder, to get this done. That's how we approach this.
So you basically customize every single person individually. It's not
Exactly.
like one size fits all.
Yeah. And that always fails, right? When like all these
Yes.
products are selling like, oh, you just have to do this, right? And you'll lose weight. It just never works because all of us are so different. We have different lives, and it's just so important to really take everything into account.
Dr. Gupta, do you laugh when you walk into GNC and
Yeah.
see all these weight loss pills and products and promises? You must have a real laugh when you go in there.
Yeah. I definitely do not make a habit of going there too often. And it just,
Yes.
none of that stuff's regulated, unfortunately. And they did some good studies that show that a lot of times what's in the package label is not really in the actual product, right? Because there's no regulation on any of that.
What makes weight loss so hard?
So the main reason why weight loss is hard is because our bodies are not made to live in this world, right? We evolved for hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
years, right? We evolved for hundreds of thousands of years where there wasn't a McDonald's in every corner, right? We had to go out into the
Yes.
world and get food, right? Even during the majority of civilization, you might have been a farmer, you might have been, in a village. You couldn't just, it's not like it was always there, right? And the ones who survived the famines, the wars, the plagues, all of that were the ones who can store energy the best, right? And eat the most, like find food, eat the most of it as they can, store energy the best, and survive, right? And again,
Yes.
7 years ago, the world changed. And instead of too few calories, we have calories every second of the day, right? Around us. It's not like we go to work, there's some cookies, right? We go home, there's a
Yes.
box of chocolates, right? There's a bag of chips there in the break room. It's like a losing battle. It's impossible, right? And I get people's impulse to want like a fix, right? But I want to really temper all that by saying, we never use a fault blame perspective. It's all about compassion, right? Like understanding that this is a biological issue leads to the fact we understand that this is hard and it's hard for a reason, right?
Yes.
And you have to
Like
start there.
quitting smoking or getting off of drugs or alcohol.
Sure. Exactly. Right. And that's part of the whole thing. But again, with compassion towards ourselves, right? Like in terms of alcohol, like instead of using the labeling and like even like the loaded terms we have, right? We figure out, okay, what are the things that are actually possible to do? How can we rearrange our life, right? To make it so that that craving is not so apparent.
How long is your program for?
So it's, unfortunately, like the official definition of obesity is a chronic relapsing disease, right?
Okay.
So basically, we're there forever for patients, but initially they come in, there's a period where it's a little bit more intense, and then there's more of a maintenance thing. But, we're always there, right? We strive to always be there. And it's kind of not like an on-off thing, right? Like we lose a lot of weight, we're there, and maybe something else happens in our life, right? Like we lose a job or something happens with the loved ones, or something like that. Something difficult happens, and or even our job change, and then we're always available again to, let's see, okay, let's go back in. What's going on right now? How can we optimize things in the context of your lives? And let's go again.
I saw ex-governor Christie. He had the bariatric surgery,
Sure.
and he really did lose a lot of weight.
Sure.
And I guess he's getting back into the presidency race again. So he was on live. He's put it all back on.
Yeah. Yeah. So
how does that happen?
So, okay. So gastric surgery, right, has its place, right? It's been a very effective treatment. I do think, though, this is my personal opinion, these new medications and the way of approaching it are so powerful right now, right? I think this should be the first line outcome, right? I don't know if that's a controversial statement amongst people in the medical community, but
No, I understand that.
This should be the first line option, right? Because what happens in a lot of times when we have gastric surgery, again, you weigh risk benefits of everything, but like it comes off so fast, and then all the lifestyle stuff is still there. All the environmental stuff is still there, right? All the cues, all the reasons why this is hard in the first place. So again, we do use medications. These medications are getting really good, right? By the way, but you have to pair that with everything else. So that would be my argument, right? The reason is because you have to do all the other stuff. Otherwise, it just is not sustainable.
Yeah, that's the problem is how does your program, because, people sometimes do backslide. They do. They just, they maybe go to a party or something. How do you help them there?
Yeah. So I think the main thing is that this isn't about perfection, right? It's about the practice of coming back. And really, we don't practice perfection. We practice coming back over and over and over again. It's that moment of coming back. And that moment is its own process. So like, we're all going to go to a party and eat or drink too much or whatever, right? It's about the next day or the next day, how we come back. Because often what happens, and that's why self-compassion is so important. Often what happens, we go there, we feel like, we feel guilt and shame. Then it feels so big. And then you're like, oh, screw it. I'm not going to worry about this. Let's just eat whatever. Let's just keep going. You keep feeling so negative and it feels so big, right? Instead, we practice forgiveness towards ourselves and say, okay, this is just part of it. Perfection's impossible. Let's just go do the things that come back and work for us, right? And some of the things that I talk about are like if someone's eating fast food a lot, for example, right? What we do is let's switch to eating more pre-made meals from grocery stores, right? Because if we switch that habit, that's sustainable weight loss right there, right?
Right.
If we like have a habit of buying chips in the house and then we practice that habit of not having it in the house, that's sustainable weight loss.
Wow. That's because you know what? If it's there, you can say, I'll tell yourself all day long, you're not going to eat it. But there's something about the mind that goes, hey, those chips are in there, that crunch, that salt, don't leave me here by myself.
So it's actually more insidious than that. These chip companies, food companies, test, like if something's not selling as much, this is well documented. What they do is they have food scientists that study to adjust the amount of fat, sugar, salt, mouthfeel, the texture to make it even more addictive, right? It's not that like it's a personal failing. It's like we're just surrounded by like a bunch of drugs around us all the time.
They're scamming us.
They are. They legitimately are.
We just got 2 texts about the same thing. So one of them Maryland, in Long Island. Is there a Long Island in California? I know there is in New York, but this says Long Island. Anyway, she wants you to do a show one day on the myths of weight loss.
Okay, I love that.
That'd be pretty cool, because there's
idea.
so many myths out there. I mean, I can think of one right now is you've got to eat 5 small meals a day to keep your metabolism up. Is that true?
No. So I think the number one thing to understand is that there is no right answer, right?
Wow.
There's no right answer, right? The right answer is what works for you, right? And so that's just a key point, because we all think where you have to do something, and if you don't do that 100%, you're failing, and that's just so wrong, right? We just have to optimize like 150 calories per day, and we got to figure out in a way that's actually possible in your life, right? So that's the right, like there is no eating 5 meals a day, or you have to eat breakfast, or you have to eat at this time. Like a lot of this stuff helps on the margins, but really the main thing is what we can do in your life to make this possible.
Yeah, because everybody's life is different. So how can you have a cookie cutter way to lose weight that works for everybody? That just makes so much sense. And, I guess the other one is about working out, that if you don't work out, you can't lose weight.
So this is, unfortunately, so we have a lot of studies on this. Unfortunately, cardio and stuff is good for a lot of things. So cardio and stuff is good for a lot of things, right? Your heart, your brain, your mental state, all that. It's not as good for work. It's not as good for losing weight, right? Unless you do crazy, unsustainable amounts. It's usually
not my gosh.
Yeah. But there is an exception, which is resistance training, right? Resistance training builds muscle, which is the only thing in the world that increases your metabolism.
Right.
But
I think that burns fat.
Yes, exactly. But the only thing.
So are you saying that walking is good?
It's all good. It's not good or bad necessarily. But I think with even this, it has to be more behavioral. Like the mistake is we try to do too many things at one time. Sorry. We try to do way too many things at one time. We try to say, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. I'm going to try to do this. You have to start slow and do what is actually possible in your life.
Wow. I wish you could see my phone. It's blowing up. So I like the idea about doing myths, because there's 2 myths right there that people think, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym, I won't be able to lose weight, or I'm spending 2 hours a day in the gym, which I know is a waste of time. There's so many myths out there. Now, you talked about supplements. Tell me your ideas on supplements.
So by supplements, do you mean medications or just like stuff you buy?
Yes. I would say more over the counter.
Okay. I can't really endorse any over the counter stuff. I mean, we use protein shakes, right? I think protein shakes are legit,
So, because you see all these pills still out there. By the way, Hydroxycut, I actually ended up suing about 15 years ago and won my case.
You did? That's awesome.
I mean, I know they're back on the market, but this was about 15, maybe 20 years ago. And we won. I mean, won like $60,000, but it did a lot of damage to me. But there's so many.
I don't recommend it. It's like, that's awesome.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I definitely do not recommend it.
Oh, no. So, but you go into GNC or whatever, and they've got tons of weight loss pills. Do any kind of pills, I'm not name brand, but do any kind of pills work when it comes to weight loss?
I mean, we have newer medications, but nothing. I can't endorse anything at GNC. I just wouldn't endorse anything there. Like I'm very skeptical about
it. Good. So you had mentioned, I think it was an injection that was actually made for diabetes.
Okay,
but they're using it for weight loss.
Perfect. So there's these two medications, right, that are out now in the market. Yeah. So sorry, Steve. I think there might be a little bit of delay. I apologize for that.
That's okay. Don't worry. It's okay.
Okay. So
We were talking about the medications.
yeah. So the two medications, or the one medication out. Okay. So there's these new class of medications, right? And how they work are we have these hunger increasing pathways and hunger decreasing pathways in our body, right? And how our hunger decreasing pathways work is that our gut releases these fullness hormones that go to our brain and decrease our hunger. And they slow our GI tract and make us feel full. So now we have created molecules to emulate these satiety pathways, right? And the one on the market right now is called semaglutide.
Okay.
And it initially came out for diabetes. It was called.
Does it work?
Yeah, it works. It's remarkable. So, sorry, Steve, did I lose you?
No, we're here.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So,
hey, this is live. This is live TV. Things happen.
Okay. Sorry. It just keeps going out. But so what happens is these molecules, what they do is they go to our brain, decrease our hunger, they decrease our cravings, and they make us feel full. They help us, they make eating less or optimizing our eating easy, not hard, right? And I think in a world that is constantly trying to increase our hunger increasing pathways, having something to increase our hunger decreasing pathways is extremely reasonable as a tool to help us lose weight. And in the studies, we're getting like 15, 20% weight loss. And with everything we do, we can even get more than that even, right? Because we can use these as tools to help us make all the other behavioral changes we need in our lives to help us with this really, really difficult disease. And I use that word disease for intention.
Interesting. Yes. Okay. So you do feel like this injection, because I heard it's like really hot in Hollywood.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah, back in LA.
Yeah.
But it's available right now. Like it's actually FDA indicated for weight loss. And Novo Nordisk sells a product called Wegovy. So that's FDA indicated. So everyone should actually explore their insurance options because the BMI criteria is just BMI over 30. Or 27 if you have like hypertension or something. But it's available to a lot of people. There's another one coming out called tirzepatide or Mounjaro. Right now it's FDA indicated.
That's Mounjaro. That's the one I've heard of.
Yeah, so it's FDA indicated for diabetes, but we're going to, in a few months, it seems like we're probably going to get the FDA indication for weight loss for it as well.
Will you use that as part of your practice?
Yes, we use it as part of our practice. And I think there's a misunderstanding. Like, it has nothing to do with diabetes in terms of the mechanism of how it works, right? It really, what it does is the same things in our body that makes us full, right? That's what these molecules are. So
we're coming to the end. This show goes by so fast, and we would love for you, everybody, if you've got something that you would like a question us to ask Dr. Gupta, we're going to start taking calls probably starting next week. And you can also go to our chat line. But for those who are listening on radio right now, Dr. Gupta, give everybody your phone number, how they can reach you, and your website address.
Perfect. So you can just go to mindfulweightloss.com. So all information is there. You can make an appointment. And the number is 310-220-4543. So you could go there, you can text us, and you can make an appointment.
Folks, I got to tell you, this is the real deal. I just hope it doesn't sound like a commercial. It's not. Our shows are meant to educate you, and we are blessed enough to find one of the top doctors in the United States that understands true weight loss, because this has got to be something long-term. It has to be. And you've got to be patient, right, Dr. Gupta?
Sure. But we, at least what we do, we help everyone through that whole thing, right? And so, like, I always say, this isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter.
Smarter. Let's one more time. I'm going to get you some vitamin C. I'm going to email it to you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. The number is 310-220-4543. If you want to text us, 954-336-3767. Dr. Gupta will be with us every month. We'll be promoting when he's going to be on with us again. Dr. Gupta, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I can't wait, because we know the more people find out, the more people, because we could actually do a show on the problems being overweight causes, from high blood pressure to sleep apnea. There's so many things. So we're going to scare you.
Yeah.
But we'll be honest with you. Dr. Gupta, thank you so much. And we're going to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Steve. This is a pleasure.
That was Dr. Gupta. We are so lucky to, if you're experiencing freezing, I don't know why we are freezing. And you know what? When it freezes, it's the worst expression you could possibly have. And that's what it captured. I don't know what happened. We do have some bad weather down here. And Dr. Gupta will be back with us. And we left probably 10 phone calls that people called us to text us. And we'll get your questions on the air. We'll be back with you again next week, same time at 2:00. And I'm so excited again about this wonderful show we're doing on weight loss. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and go Heat.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.